Perfect, we're all ready? Awesome, so I know the majority of you here, but for those who don't, my name is Matt Rutherford. I'm the spokesperson with the Victoria Police Department. We're here to discuss the arrest of Mr. Sad on several offenses. We're joined by Sergeant Kristi Ross of the Special Victims Unit, who leads her team and is working on the investigation. So she'll be discussing the investigation with you today.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for coming today, and thank you for watching online. My name is Kristi Ross, and I'm the Sergeant in charge of the Victoria Police Special Victims Unit. Today we are searching for additional victims after arresting Harry Charles Sad, a 70-year-old Victoria man, for a series of sexual assaults that took place in the late 1970s and continued for several years. Sad was charged after one of his victims came forward after years of struggling with what happened to him. The victim was inspired by Theo, Fleury, and Sheldon's Kennedy public sharing of their own stories of sexual abuse. I am personally impressed by the victim's bravery in coming forward. Our investigation leads us to believe that there are likely many more victims who are suffering in silence due to Sad's actions, and today we're asking for them to come forward. We know that Harry Charles Sad worked as a youth badminton coach here in British Columbia, and before that as a teacher in Alberta. We also have reason to believe he may have been involved in other youth-centered organizations during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Our investigation indicates that there are likely victims in multiple provinces. Sad has previous convictions for sexual offenses involving young boys. We are releasing 2 photos of Harry Sad. One was taken in 1992 at the time of an arrest for similar offenses. The second was taken this month. We are reaching out to police departments across British Columbia and Alberta to help with our investigation. The Men's Trauma Center has long been an essential partner with police in supporting men who have survived assault and abuse. Their work is excellent. They are offering their support to men who have been victimized by SAD and also to facilitate reporting to police. All victims of sexual assault deserve to be heard, and we will believe you. If you have been victimized by Harry Charles Sad, you no longer have to suffer in silence. We need to hear from you. We ask that you please call us at 250-995-7654, and you will be put through to an SVU detective to take your information. And we'll be contacting you later on this month or next month to get a statement from you. You can also call the Men's Trauma Center at 250-381-6367. To report what you know anonymously, please call the Greater Victoria Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. We are also asking those who may have information on SAD's activities with children to come forward to police if they have not already done so. Harry Sad has not been held in custody. Instead, he's been released on strict conditions. These include that he not be near playgrounds, swimming pools, community centers, or schools or other places where he could be in contact with children. A list of his conditions are available on our website at vicpd.ca. Parents and caregivers can do 2 things. First, you can be aware of his presence in our community while he awaits trial. If you see Harry Sad violating any of his conditions, call 911. Secondly, talk with your children about their safety. Help them know that they can tell you anything and that you will love them and support them and believe them. Thank you. I will take your questions in sequence as directed by Constable Rutherford.
When was he arrested?
Late last week.
Why are you confident there's more victims out there? What led you to believe that?
Well, we do know of some files that happened years ago that did not make it to charge, and we're going to be reopening those ones. We also have this victim that's come forward has given us a list of names, and we'll be contacting those people, and we're going to be getting statements from them. And I've been contacted by several other people over the last week that knew that he was being arrested. The victim has said they have more to say.
How many other potential victims do you think there could be? Do you have a ballpark?
I can't even guess. I mean, when we're looking at potentially decades of abuse, we don't know. We could just have a small amount. We don't know. We won't know that for some time.
Where did he coach badminton and when?
We do know they coached in the 70s and 80s, and it was in the Greater Victoria area.
But you can't say what location?
I don't know exactly. I think it was it moved around, and I do know that they went on tournaments, but it kind of in the sanitary, I believe.
About community group or school or?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Any prior criminal history prior to this arrest? Or prior?
Yes, he's been convicted of sexual interference in 1991, and there are some other files that didn't make it onto CPIC, but that we're digging up from archives because they go back further.
Could there be other potential charges in other provinces?
Potentially, yes.
His previous conviction, did it occur here?
In West Shore.
And how many charges or convictions in
He
that
was
case?
convicted for 2 charges of sexual interference in 1991.
And those happened in Greater Victoria?
Yes.
Does he just assault boys?
Our information so far is, yes, preteen and teen boys.
What can you tell us about sort of his activities recently in Victoria, where he's been, or he's known to frequent some area?
We understand that he's retired and he's lives alone, but I don't have, we don't have any indication of anything right now, which is one of the reasons why we're asking for your help, for the media to get the public on board to let us know any more information that we can use.
Is he married? Does he have children? Do you know?
He does have a family, and they are, as far as they're spread out between here and different parts of the province.
But he's currently living alone, you said?
Yes.
Did he serve time in jail?
He was released on, I think, he had probation.
And was there conditions?
Conditions back then, there was a few years of, I don't have them in front of me, and again, it was from 1991. A lot of that file has been purged, but the conviction is on CPIC, and there were conditions, but they expired after a couple of years.
So sorry, just to be clear, does he have any conditions he needs to abide by now?
Not at this time, no. The ones that we've just put on him, he does, but prior to this, no.
How unusual is it for you to release photographs like this in an investigation of this?
It just depends on the investigation and what the need of the investigation is and the public interest. In this case, since we have an indication that there are so many victims historically, we really do want to get a handle on how far this went.
Do you have
And,
sorry.
yeah, and just really try and start helping all those victims that have probably been quiet for 20, 30, 40 years.
Do you have a ballpark on the amount of people we're talking about, the number of victims?
I know right now that I've got information on over half a dozen, but they're not confirmed victims yet. They are people with information that we are looking to speak to. And again, until we actually sit down and get a long statement from these people, we're not going to know. And then, of course, that has to go through the formal process through the courts to determine if they actually are a victim and if there's a charge that can be laid.
The victim that came forward, did he learn badminton from her? Is that how they
Yes.
met? So are you looking for more players that
Potentially badminton. I mean, we have information, it's not confirmed, that he may have been involved in other youth-centered organizations through the years, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Again, a lot of this stuff is historical information. It's really hard to kind of find those records when we're going back so far. With the release of the photograph, we're hoping that people's memory is triggered. I know that man from here or there, to the information I have. We do have some information on other organizations, but we're not confirmed, and we don't know that there's victims there or not yet.
Can you talk about the charges, what exactly they are?
The charges are, and they stem back because they're the criminal code charges at the time, and they are indecent assault on a male ×3 and sexual assault.
The reason there's no word of a minor in there is because
Just the way the criminal code was written at the time. In these days, it would be sexual interference and sexual assault.
Do you believe most of the other victims may be males as well, or do you think that there's a potential?
My information at this point is, yes, that predominantly we're going to be looking for young males.
Where is he from? Is he from Victoria originally?
He's been here for a long, long time. I think he was born overseas, but this has been where he's been living for quite some time.
Do you know his next court appearance?
I'll have to double check the file, but I can't say off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
Has there been any concerns or has any police contact with him since 91?
There have been spatterings of police contacts, yes. A lot of it, the problems are just sometimes the changes in the computer systems. We're going back so far that what records were uploaded to our current system. So we're doing a lot of digging in that regard as well to kind of get a really good handle on what we've got.
The victim who came forward, can you say how old he is now and how old he was when he alleged?
It started when he was about 9 years old,
Okay.
and it continued till a late teenager. He's now in his early 50s.
if he's been a member of the community, like in Victoria for the last, 40 years, could this have been happening as of, 5-10 years ago, more recently? Could there be a victim out there that this happened last year?
Potentially. That's why we're asking for your help.
Can you elaborate on the contacts with police since his previous convictions?
Since his previous conviction, I can't know.
Like, you can't tell us if there was other reports of,
They didn't go to charge, I can't discuss those.
but somebody came forward with a concern.
Any regular person in the public can have multiple police contacts that they're not a suspect in, and so there's just a variety of different things.
The victim finally coming forward, what triggered it? I know you mentioned Fleury, Sheldon, Kennedy, but was there one thing? Because it's been a long time since those people came forward, obviously.
And you know, this is an interesting part that trauma manifests itself in different ways with different people, and men go through a variety of emotions and ups and downs in their life when they've had something like this happen to them. And so I don't know that there's one thing that triggered it. He's been trying to deal with it on his own for decades and wasn't getting what he needed from that. And so this is what he has decided to do, and I commend him. It's been very difficult. It's been a very difficult path for him.
How would having more victims come forward impact your investigation?
And it's not even that we're just looking for more victims. There's other people that may corroborate some of the information we already have. But I think it's in the public interest for us to really understand the scope and depth of what's gone on here, or any other historical sexual abuse that's happened to anybody, regardless if this person or somebody else. I think it's something that we need to be aware of, and we can also help those victims, because there's a lot of support out there that we can connect them with, which is just as important as going through the criminal justice system.
Any more questions? Perfect. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, that's good. I just have to grab some other.
You have the photos.
Yeah.
We have all the